Thank you for being here and watching this video. If you enjoy it, please like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. I want this channel to be more than just a collection of videos. I want it to be a community where we explore fascinating ideas, discuss them openly, learn from one another, and grow together. So don't stay silent, join the conversation. Religion, consciousness, and the ancient wisdom that shaped humanity's first attempts to understand existence, the origin of all religions is a far more complex question than it is usually presented, and the popular account of how religion began deserves considerably more scrutiny than it typically receives. The standard narrative, which became dominant in the 19th century and has persisted in various forms since, proposes that religion emerged from ignorance, from the fear of natural forces that early humans could neither understand nor control. Confronted by lightning, fire, storms, drought, and death, they supposedly invented gods as explanations, projected human-like agency onto natural phenomena, and began to pray as a way of appeasing powers they could not otherwise manage. Religion in this account is essentially primitive science, the wrong answer to the right questions, which would eventually be corrected when real science appeared. The problem with this narrative is not that it is entirely false. Fear, awe, and the desire for explanation are certainly part of the story. The problem is that it is far too simple, and the evidence that has accumulated through archaeology, cognitive science, comparative religion, and the study of surviving indigenous traditions suggests that the inner world of early human beings was considerably more sophisticated, more coherent, and more intentionally structured than the fear of thunder account implies. Consider cave paintings. The most famous prehistoric art, Lascaux in France, Altamar in Spain, Chauvet, and dozens of other sites, dates to between 15,000 and 40,000 years ago, making it among the oldest evidence of symbolic human thought we possess. For much of the 20th century, these paintings were interpreted as hunting magic, images of animals made to ensure successful hunts, sympathetic magic in the most literal sense. But closer analysis has complicated this picture considerably. Many of the animals depicted were not the primary prey species of the communities that made them. Many of the sites were in the deepest, most inaccessible chambers of cave systems, far from any living area, requiring torches, ropes, and considerable effort to reach. Conditions that suggest ritual purpose, rather than the casual production of practical magic. The images themselves show remarkable consistency across vast geographic distances and long time periods, suggesting shared conceptual frameworks rather than independent local inventions. The anthropologist David Lewis Williams, whose work on the neuropsychological basis of altered states of consciousness and their relationship to prehistoric art, has been highly influential, argues that the caves functioned as membranes, thresholds between the ordinary world and what the people who made the art understood as a spirit world or other realm of existence. The animals depicted on the walls were understood as beings whose existence was not confined to the physical world. Beings with souls, with agency in multiple dimensions, with relationships to human beings that extended beyond the purely material. When a hunter killed an animal in the physical world, something happened in the other dimension as well. An imbalance, a debt, a relationship that needed to be acknowledged and maintained. The image on the wall served not as a hunting charm, but as a way of preserving the animal's continued existence in this world, of maintaining the relationship, of acknowledging the soul of what had been taken. This is not primitive thinking. This is complex, coherent, multidimensional, cosmological thinking. A systematic account of the structure of reality that includes multiple layers of existence, relationships of obligation between beings at different levels, and practices designed to maintain the balance and harmony that the system requires. The categories that later religious traditions would develop. The distinction between the material and the spiritual, the idea of soul, the concept of cosmic balance, the notion of obligation between humans and other beings, are all present here in embryonic form. They did not emerge from nothing when the great axial age religions appeared in the first millennium BCE. They developed from a substrate of cosmological thinking that appears to be very old indeed. The cognitive scientist Pascal Boyer, in his research on the universal features of religious thought across cultures, identified what he called the minimally counterintuitive concept as a key feature of religious and supernatural beings. They are almost entirely like ordinary things, but violate one or two expectations in ways that make them memorable and attention-capturing. Gods are like people, but without the biological limitations. Spirits are like animals, but without the restriction to a single physical body. Ancestors are like living humans, but without the constraints of being currently alive. If early human beings were simply afraid of fire, why construct entire cosmologies? The question cuts to the heart of what the fear-based account of religious origins fails to explain. Fear is a response to specific threats in specific situations. It does not naturally generate systematic accounts of the structure of multiple dimensions of reality. Comprehensive frameworks for understanding the relationships between human beings and animals and plants and natural forces and ancestral spirits, or elaborate ritual practices designed to maintain cosmic balance. These things require something considerably more than fear. They require curiosity, imagination, sustained collective reflection, and the kind of creative engagement with the structure of existence that has characterized serious religious thought in every culture and period that has left enough evidence to examine. The astronomical knowledge embedded in ancient religious systems is particularly striking in this context. People in prehistoric and early historic periods who had no telescopes, no mathematical astronomy in the modern sense, and no written records of systematic observation over centuries nevertheless developed detailed, accurate, and practically useful knowledge of celestial phenomena, the alignments of Stonehenge with solar and lunar events, the precise astronomical orientation of Egyptian temples, the extraordinary precision of Mayan calendrical systems, the navigation of Polynesian peoples across the Pacific, using star knowledge so accurate that they could locate specific islands in vast ocean from thousands of miles away. None of this is explicable as the product of people who simply feared the sky and invented gods to explain it. It is the product of sustained, systematic, collectively maintained attention to patterns in the natural world. Attention that was organized, transmitted, and motivated by frameworks of meaning that we now classify as religious. The ancient religious idea of universal balance and harmony. The sense that all living beings, and perhaps non-living ones as well, participate in a shared system governed by laws that apply equally to all. Appears in forms that are recognizably similar across cultures with no obvious historical connection. The Chinese concept of Tao, the Indian concept of Dharma, the Egyptian concept of Ma'at, the principle of truth, justice, and cosmic order that the universe was understood to embody and that human action was understood to either support or violate. The Greek concept of logos, the Stoic concept of the rational principle that pervades and governs all of existence. These are not primitive versions of modern scientific concepts. They are sophisticated philosophical and cosmological frameworks that address questions which modern science, focused on mechanism and prediction, does not attempt to answer. Not how the world works, but what it means, what place human beings occupy within it, and what obligations that place entails. The later development of structured religious laws, governing the relationship with the divine, the relationships between human beings, and the relationships between human beings and the natural world, can be understood as the codification and systematization of what had been, in earlier forms, a more fluid and locally maintained set of practices and understandings. The distinction between what later religions called idolatry and true worship reflects in significant part a conflict between different ways of organizing and expressing the same fundamental intuition, that the world is animated by powers and presences that are not reducible to the material, and that human beings have relationships of obligation and reciprocity with those powers. Older traditions distributed these relationships across a wide range of specific beings, particular animals, particular places, particular natural forces, each with their own character and their own claims. Newer traditions concentrated them in a smaller number of more abstract divine figures, reinterpreting the older distributed relationships as confusion or error. But the underlying intuition of a world alive with meaning, of human life embedded in a web of relationships that extend beyond the purely human, persisted through the transformation, and persist still. Ancient religions, in this light, may have had far more sophisticated structures than the condescension of the fear-based narrative acknowledges. They accounted for more dimensions of existence, the material and the spiritual, the living and the ancestral, the human and the animal and the cosmic. And they did so not through vague superstition, but through carefully elaborated frameworks of relationship, obligation, and practice. They arose not from ignorance seeking to explain what it could not understand, but from intelligence seeking to understand what it rightly perceived as genuinely mysterious, and found in that mystery. Thank you for watching all the way through. I really appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think about the ideas in this video, and feel free to share your own perspective or advice in the comments. I genuinely like to read it. If you enjoyed this kind of content, please like the video and subscribe. My hope is to build not just a channel, but a community where people explore meaningful ideas, exchange thoughts, and grow together. See you in the next videos. Bye.